Bethany Kaiser. I am a mix of things, an artist, illustrator, sometimes photographer, and most recently an equine body worker.
Okay. And how did you get into art?
It started when I was really young. As soon as I could hold a pencil, I was drawing things. Any animal that I could find, pencil sketching. I started in fine art and then switched more into the illustration direction.
Can you talk to me a little bit about your creative process? Has it evolved over the years for you, or has it always been the same?
It has been on a journey,
Yeah.
and it's still on a journey. I definitely was trained in the fine arts with traditional painting, and I found that I really like the structure of that. Like you're, trying to find the texture and the process through the finished piece. But I also felt a little disconnected at that time through my art and myself, and found that illustration became a way for me to find more freedom and looseness in that and more creative expression.
What made you realize that you were disconnected from yourself?
I was often like very reserved and quiet through like early childhood and early adulthood. And I just kind of thought that was my personality, that's who I am. But I found out that I had Lyme, probably mid 20s, I would say. And I just had this realization, because I didn't know I had it, but I just had this thought, I'm like, what if everyone else doesn't feel like this? And so I went and got tested and found out that I had Lyme. And I tried holistically. I went to see someone and didn't have a lot of change happen. And so we dug a little bit deeper and found a different practitioner who, she combines a lot more, like a whole person involved as opposed to just like your body has this problem. So she was asking me, she's like, don't you miss yourself? Like all of these questions about like connecting with yourself. So it just opened up this thought process of like healing, because it's not just physical. You're having to heal on a spiritual level, emotional, physical level, like all of those things. And so she just really opened this box of like just asking the questions. So then I had to start asking myself questions like, I do miss myself, and how do I find myself again and find that connection? And that was like a key part of the healing, because I couldn't heal just on the physical. So bringing that side in, like I was able to actually heal from that.
How were you really able to heal at a soul level? Was that through your art?
I think that definitely helped. It was like a process, because it gave me like a bit of an outlet, because I was kind of unearthing this new version of myself through the healing process and finding out like this very structured, like quiet person, and art is not who I actually am, like if I allow that person to come out. So it gave me that space to figure that out, like, experiment and figure out. You just keep showing up, and it's a safe space to do that.
What have you learned about yourself? Who are you evolving into?
That I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I'm still growing into that. I do think that definitely a much more grounded and open person. I feel like I have a lot more freedom in my life and a lot more just ability to like to show up authentically, as opposed to like being reserved or like worried what everyone else is thinking, or how they're going to respond or react to how I show up. So just that freedom to just be present and be myself.
And did all of this awaken something in you spiritually?
I think that's always been there to an extent. I think even since I was like very little. But it felt a lot more like coming home to myself and actually being able to see the good, as opposed to, I think, definitely walking around like trying to protect myself for a lot of my life. And there's just like that ability to receive and to know like that I am loved and taken care of and supported, and be able to receive all of that and actually live it out and give it back to the world, as opposed to just trying to be protective.
So, is your process with art, is it like a spiritual process for you? What's your take on creativity?
It's all of the things.
Yeah.
The spirituality is definitely in there because it's everywhere, it's in everything. So I think that's always there. So I've always found like peace and healing and groundedness by being out in nature. Like that's my safe space, my way of returning, back to self and getting my nervous system settled back down. So like that's more natural to me, that I'm always drawing nature, like whatever I'm seeing, whether it's, bugs that I'm following around or horses. Those are like, that's a big connection piece for me. And that symbolizes healing and hope and peace. So that's always coming back into my art and bringing me back home. And looking for that beauty in life has always been like a big saving grace for me. And I think that being able to bring that then through the art for myself can then also be able to give back to the world for people that connect with what I'm creating. So I studied fine art, and that was a good place for me to start, I think, because I had all that skill set of traditional ways of creating. But I didn't feel very connected to that way of doing things, and I was missing that flow and connection in the work that I was creating. So I, through my healing process, have had ideas for children's books that have come to mind, and it sparked this whole, I was like, oh, there's this whole other world that I've never even looked at before, where you can kind of process, and this is helpful for kids, that you're, bringing up things that are hard in life, but in a way that they can experience themselves and like relate to. So that started me going down that direction. And in that process, I found more of myself, because there has to be more play and looseness in the work, at least for me. And that's brought like a whole different style to me through the illustration. So getting to go like outside and observe what you're seeing, but you're training yourself to see things differently. With a little more openness and energy to it, as opposed to just painting exactly what you're seeing. So for me personally, it was like opening to a whole new way of seeing the world and myself.
I'm sure helping with children's books too helps you connect with your inner child in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and that's a whole other level of healing, I would say. Because then you're processing that for yourself through that creative outlet.
That's beautiful. Then you're helping children too. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to get into what you do with horses. So can you explain that to me a little bit?
Yeah, so that's another part of the healing journey. They've been in my life for a long time, and a place to go to when you can't understand the world around you. That was my safe place to go and process. And I wanted to be able to give back to them. And I found my own horses have had some health issues that I don't have, but being in the middle of nowhere, we don't have access to a lot of help here. And so I decided to become that for my horses. So that looks like body work and learning to trim their hooves myself. And so then that's turning into how can I help other horses that are struggling in the same way. So I have been on a long journey of education, so that I have the knowledge behind that. What I innately feel, have some of that skill set just being around them and being able to offer them a safe place of healing, because their bodies know how to heal if they have a safe space. So if I can hold that space for them, then they can let down their guard and their body can heal in that time.
Okay, that's really special.
Yeah.
So can you talk to me a little bit about that body work? Like what does that look like?
Yeah, my focus is on craniosacral work for the horse. So the craniosacral system starts in the cranium, essentially, and then ends in the sacrum. That's where all of your nutrients are coming from for the body. So if there's any kind of impingement in that area, like, you're going to stop the flow from getting to where it needs to go for optimum health and well-being. So we're listening to the rhythm of the bones and feeling for that in them, and you'll be able to feel whether the bone feels alive or not. And then you're helping the horse pay attention to that area, essentially. So when they're in that state of openness, and then you're saying, hey, like, I know that you've been protecting this area, but what if we just hang out here? Like, what if we come back to this space being safe and okay? And then you're working with the brain too, so that once you've reset an area, the brain is registering that it happened, because if you don't do that part, like, the body just goes back to where it was, back to protecting it. So you're like helping it reset completely and rewire, so that it knows that the healing is there and it doesn't need to protect it anymore.
So it's kind of like energy work on the horse in a lot of ways.
Yeah, there's definitely a big element of that to it.
So I'm curious, do you feel that horses are very spiritual and emotionally intelligent beings?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They are that in so many levels, much more than we are aware of for ourselves, I would say. Just being in their presence is healing for people. So that's such a gift that they give to the world without even doing anything.
I love that you're able to give back to them when they give to you in that way. I think that's really
Yeah.
beautiful. I want to talk a little bit about like your purpose and what drives you to do what you do. What is your mission behind what you do?
I would say helping people to come home to themselves through, hopefully through what they're seeing through art, like if they connect with a piece. But hopefully that healing and finding that beauty in your life is coming through in the work when people connect with it, specifically through the art. And like with horses, it's all still so connected because it's helping people seeing their horse through a different eyes, through a different lens. Because so often we're looking for all of the like bad things or things that are wrong with them, and I think that they are desperate for people to start seeing what's good. And I think it's helpful that I can create that space for not just the horse, but the person with them as well, that just help guide them towards that healing together, where they can be there more for each other and just find like hope together in that.
Oh, that's beautiful. It seems like there was a big shift when you experienced Lyme, and that kind of shifted your approach to art and your approach with horses. So like, what was that journey like for you?
I think that as much as nobody wants to have Lyme or any other disease like that, it was definitely a catalyst for change for me, and it brought like I think huge healing that might have taken like a lot longer to come, I think. And that process was like kind of twofold. There's the physical side of it, and I had someone helping me going through a protocol. So you're taking certain like herbal things to support your body through the process of healing. And a whole other layer of that was that she tests your body specifically for what food you can eat, like at that time. And it usually takes about 3 months at a time for whatever you're taking to fully affect your body. So it was probably like a very long 6 months for like the heavy part of going through that and eating very weird things at a time. And then it's slowly, like over a year, I would say, like I could get back to eating normally and have a full diet and not have anything affect me negatively. But again, the other side of that healing was the same practitioner was coming alongside, and she's saying, can you like connect with yourself? And like she just helped me see that I couldn't find myself or know how to. And that was like the missing part of that healing for me, is bringing those two things together, like that emotional spiritual side along with the physical, and those two needed to be like hand in hand through the healing process. And that was also a lot of work, probably harder than the physical side, because you have to be willing to be open and uncover parts of yourself that have been hidden for a long time, and that's definitely challenging. And you have to be patient with yourself and find the right tools. I think that's one of the biggest things, that I didn't have a lot of tools that I needed. Once I started to find those, like what works for me, like whether it's a certain kind of meditation or long walks or spending lots of time in nature, it's finding those ways to reconnect and not judging yourself and finding a way to bring love back to yourself instead of that judgment. And that's definitely a big part of the healing process.
So through all of this and all of your healing and art, who do you feel that you're becoming?
Much more myself. Like I'm learning how to find who I am authentically and to honor that. And that person is a lot more bold than I would ever expect myself to be. And that's a little challenging to uncover, because like, oh, how do I, knowing like this really is who I am, but it can be a little scary to start to embrace that and actually live that out, because everyone's like, oh, like that's not who we know you to be, like, but it is me. Like, so yeah, just finding more freedom and peace with myself, and a lot more self-love and ability to show up for myself and what I need, to ask for that, and even be able to provide it for myself just by being aware of what I need. Yeah, so definitely just becoming, I think, a brighter version of myself and coming back home.
So what would you title this chapter of your life?
Maybe the art of becoming.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. It brings everything together. And what are you learning to love about yourself?
I think maybe the best way to answer that is that I am learning to love myself, like all of me, who I am, and not have judgments or expectations that are unfair. I think I'm learning that like who I am is enough, more than enough, and someone to be celebrated and embraced, and so that I'm not bringing that judgment to that person anymore. I'm coming with curiosity and like, who are you? Like, who do you want to be in the world? So I think it's more about creating that space for me to exist and ask those questions of myself.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna leave any space if you want to say anything directly to anyone watching this.
Thanks for watching, and I hope that this is helpful in your own process of healing on your journey. And if you want to follow along with where this new space is taking me, come follow.
Thank you so much, Bethany.
Yeah, thanks.